Welcome to True Wellness with Dr. D, the podcast where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. D, and each week I'll bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your free copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey to true wellness right away. Now, let's get started. Welcome back to the Hormone Reset Series. If you've been with me for the last 3 episodes, you now understand that your symptoms are not random, nor are they your fault. In fact, hormones are messengers, not the root problem. And the most common fixes can actually backfire hard. So today we're going to flip the script. This episode, which I'm calling How to Truly Reset Using the Body-Led Approach to Hormonal Healing, because you guys, you've been told probably to push, to restrict, to hack, to fight your body. But real, lasting healing, it happens when you work with your body, not against it. So let's start with the truth. Your body is not a machine. Okay. It's better than a machine. In fact, I believe that our bodies were ingeniously designed. God knew exactly what he was doing because your body, it's an intelligent, adaptive ecosystem. And when you try to force it into compliance, right, through extreme diets or punishing workouts or stimulant fueled schedules where you're nonstop all the time, it does what any wise organism would do. It resists. It protects itself. That's what it should be doing. Your body was designed for survival. So everything your body does, even if you don't like the way it's happening, it is for the sole purpose of keeping you alive. Thank you, God, right? So I'll tell you, there was a study, a 2017 study in the Psychoneuroendocrinology Journal that actually found that restrictive dieting, okay, actually increased cortisol levels significantly. And guess how much time? Within 48 hours. So that means that the people in the study, the women in the study, restricted their calories so that they could lose weight. Okay. And then within 48 hours, their cortisol levels were elevated. So what does that mean? It means it actually slowed down their fat loss and increased their inflammation. So I want you to think about this, because when you power through, when you push harder, your body, it reads it like a threat, like, oh my gosh, we're under a threat. We better conserve, we better store, we better defend this body. It's not that your body's being stubborn. It's actually being brilliant. It is doing what it was designed to do. So we need to start to ask ourselves more of, what does our body need in order to feel safe, in order to come into balance? So the body-led approach that I created is really about tuning into your body's biofeedback. Okay. That's your way your body's talking to you. And it's about responding to those messages in ways that restore safety, restore rhythm, restore balance, so that your hormones can self-correct, because that's what they do. And when I say body-led movement, it's not passive. It's actually very strategic. Think about it as like learning your body's language. When you're living a body-led life, you're listening for cues like hunger and fullness, okay? Like asking yourself before you eat, like, am I really hungry? Or am I bored? Or am I stressed? Or do I have anxiety? Or am I, really perseverating over something in my mind, and be present to it? Or managing your fullness cues. Like, come on, we've all done it. How many of you, like, you've known you're full, but you're like, oh my gosh, this food is so good. Or I just want to finish what's on my plate so that I don't waste it. But it's like respecting those cues instead of just pushing past them. Respecting your energy patterns, knowing what your energy cycles are, knowing that, okay, I get up in the morning, I'm vibrant, I'm energetic, and using that time to get your workout in, not when you're exhausted at the end of the day and ready to go to bed, for example. And speaking of bed, having consistent sleep cycles. So going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. I had a meeting with a client yesterday, in fact, and we were talking about her sleep cycle. And she is in between jobs right now. And she's like, well, I go to bed at 1 a.m. Like, that's just my normal time. 1 a.m., usually that's the time. Sometimes it's a little bit later. Well, if your body heals between the hours of 10 and 2, and if we're trying to get your hormones under control so that you're not having hot flashes, right? Your adrenal glands are not stressed out. If we're not respecting that body's natural normal rhythm, those things will not fall into place. It's like trying to walk uphill while you've got a big weight tied behind you. It's like you'll never get up that hill because you've got these things that are pulling you back. So we've got to pay attention to that. The other pieces are stress responses. And you guys, I'm human, right? I'm not perfect. Yes, I teach the stuff. I know this stuff inside and out, but it doesn't mean that I don't fall into the same patterns as a human being. Of course I do. So I noticed recently, so my little daughter, she is running for junior rodeo princess. And as part of her candidacy, she needs to sell all of these rodeo tickets. They give them points based upon their sales. Thank goodness there's a sales cap, right? But they give points based upon that. And we don't have a large network where we live in this area, and the rodeo is about an hour for us. So how many people from our area are willing to drive down to that area? And so I had completely worked myself up into a tizzy to the point where I was literally waking up in the middle of the night, stressed about, oh my gosh, how am I going to sell these tickets? And so what I realized, I had to stop myself, time out, Dr. D, time out, Danielle, because it was a stress response. And I had to recognize and shift that pattern before it started to wreak havoc on my hormones in my body, because I was allowing myself to go into this state literally of anxiety. And what is anxiety, you guys? Anxiety is predicting a negative future. So I was already predicting that we weren't going to be able to get all these tickets sold. Right. So I was allowing myself to move into the state of anxiety. And so I had to backtrack and be okay, I heard that thought. I heard that worrisome thought. Now let me feel in my body, where is that emotion? And just let that emotion pass so that it doesn't spiral out of control. How many times do we do that, right? Pay attention. Think about where in your life you've done that. So what about your menstrual cycle and your mood patterns? That's another area to investigate for sure. How many of you maybe you're fasting just before you get your period, or you're working out right before you get your period? Well, that's going to throw your hormones further out of balance. You want to work with your hormone cycles, not against your hormone cycles. That really is, pivotal, essentially. It's really pivotal. So, and if you don't have a cycle, you still want to follow your body's moods, and you will still have some sort of pattern in your body's energy levels, in your responses. So that's important to pay attention to. And then, of course, recovery. Recovery is not optional. Recovery from life, recovery from stress, recovery from your workouts, it is not optional. So if you've done a real heavy duty workout, or if you've gone through a really stressful period, maybe at work, or maybe you were, doing some outside yard work, or maybe you were moving your house or moving boxes or whatever, you've got to pay attention to what your body needs to actually recover. If you just let that go by the wayside and push, well, there goes your hormones cascading out of control again. Right now, your hormones, like we said before, they are your cell-to-cell communication system. So when you allow them to get into sort of the state of chaos, everything else in the body goes into the state of chaos. So we've got to pay attention to these things, and then we have to adjust, right? Adjust our nutrition, adjust our movement, adjust our rate, adjust our environment. Listen, if being a loud, noisy environment causes you stress, then get yourself into a calming, soothing place instead. If you are working in an office space that is filled with clutter all around you, then get that taken care of. Because the longer it continues to impact you, the worse your health becomes. So it's really about finding your way around that. So here's the thing, you guys. So those hormones, right? Those little chemical messengers, they respond to the context that you create for them. I'll say that again. Your hormones respond to the context that you create. So that is like good news and bad news. It's like, okay, we're responsible, but ownership and responsibility is actually a gift because it means that we've got power and control over creating some change. So that's pretty awesome. So the True Wellness framework that we use in my practice, it really is a practical map for doing just this, for paying attention and making the adjustments, just like we're talking about here. And it starts with like the T. And if you guys have listened to other podcast episodes, so you know we've gone through that you're listening to True Wellness with Dr. D, and all of the podcasts are based in this foundation to work on all those different areas. But the T is really to tune into your body and your mind. Because I'll tell you, most of us are heads. We're heads disconnected from our bodies. How many of you are, and I catch myself doing it all the time, you guys, I am human, just like everybody else. But how many times do you catch yourself like go, and you forget like, oh, wait, am I even feeling that I've got like a stiffness or a soreness or that my body is really tired? No, we usually don't do that. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to start your day with a 2-minute body scan. So instead of like grabbing your phone first thing in the morning and starting to scroll, which is an awful way to start your day. And believe me, there's sometimes I'm tempted too, and I gotta like put that thing away. But I want you to, again, just like close your eyes, check in, like start scanning your head, your eyes, your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your stomach, your stomach area, your lower abdominal area, your back, your knees, your calves, your ankles. Scan through your body and check, like, how's my energy this morning? How's my mood right now? How's my digestion feel? How did I sleep last night?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Dr. D. I just wanted to remind you that you can get started on your True Wellness journey. Go ahead and check the show notes and grab a link to the True Wellness checklist. Now, let's get back to the episode. This is really important, you guys. There was an article in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine that found that body awareness practices, tuning into your body, just by themselves lower cortisol levels and actually improve your heart rate variability. So in the study that they did, they found that these changes, so just by bringing in that mindfulness, those changes took place in just 4 weeks. So imagine, like, in just 4 weeks, without any sort of chemical intervention, your cortisol comes down just by becoming more aware. It's good news, right? It's easy to do. 2 minutes a day. You can't say you don't have time. It doesn't cost any money, even better. So pay attention to that. So next is, we got T, let's go to the R. And the R is for reconnect and rebalance. And this is really about rebuilding the circadian rhythm, like getting out in the morning, seeing the morning sunlight, maybe getting grounded, barefoot on the ground, building in the earth's energetics, having that consistent bedtime and wake up time, balancing your blood sugar. A lot of people, they start to gain weight, they like severely cut and restrict their calories. Okay. Now, the problem with that is that if you're severely cutting and restricting your calories and your blood sugar is all the way out of balance, so this is for my people who are like, I'm gonna, jump on the intermittent fasting bandwagon when I'm in the middle of my perimenopause. And so when you're waking up and your cortisol is spiking, and then your blood sugar comes up, and then you're restricting on top of that, you're actually setting yourself up for weight gain and disaster. So get your blood sugar actually balanced before you start doing all of that stuff. Okay. And then, of course, support recovery. So we talked a little bit about this before. Like, when your body needs to recover, it's not optional. Don't keep pushing performance and besides recovery. I'll tell you, it's one of the important things. So my sons race motocross, and those kids, man, they work so hard. What it takes the amount of calories that they burn, the amount of physical activity that they go through, it's a lot. And I see some of these kids out there on the tracks, and they're pushing through like this every single day, and they get burned out, right? And when you burn out, think about it, it leads to injury. So you've got to really pay attention to that recovery. It's important. So next we got U. So U in the T.R.U.E Wellness Framework is for uncover the root causes. So in my practice, first of all, I love kinesiologic testing. I have been trained by the best, God rest his soul. And there's not many of us who practice the way I practice, and it is literally genius. But we test, we don't guess. Right? So whether it's kinesiologic testing, whether it's blood work, whether it's just paying attention to your symptoms, you guys, you are your own scientist. You are a subject of one, but your tests and your experiments, they are 100% valid. So be present to what's happening in your body. But we test, we don't guess, right? Inflammation markers, nutrient status, gut health, toxin activity. These are all important. And addressing drainage. So if you're trying to detox, okay, and we've talked about this already, but if you're trying to detox and your body's all clogged up, well, you're just releasing stuff into a system where it has nowhere to go. So it recirculates and makes things worse, not better. So yeah, we've got to make sure that you're moving your bowels on a regular basis, that your liver is having daily detoxification, that your lymph is moving. Like, hey, go ahead and rub those lymphatic points, right above your chest bone there, underneath your armpits, behind the back of your knees, your stomach, your groin area. All of those places are really important so that you can actually detox and let everything move out versus congesting everything. You guys, this is important because we know from the scientific literature that the more toxic burden you have, and it accumulates, guys, by the time we reach midlife, we end up with these midlife metabolic issues with the more and more toxicity that we have. And so drainage support actually improves detox capacity. So get in there, make sure dry brushing, for example, is another one. Rebounding, so just kind of jumping on a trampoline or a mini trampoline. It's called a rebounder. So these are all things that are important. Lymphatic massage, good for helping to get the lymph moving. Okay, so we did T.R.U. The next is E. And the E is for embrace and empower your mindset, you guys. So drop the all or nothing where you're thinking it's all or nothing, right? Actually celebrate small wins and keep your nervous system in a state of safety. Okay. Replace that self-blame more with curiosity. What is my body asking me for? Or what is my body telling me? So, okay, so you had a piece of chocolate cake and you feel like crap the day later. Well, look at it. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. Your body's communicating with you. So rather than beating yourself up over it, be like, okay, I got the lesson, body. Thank you so much, and move on. So it's really important, you guys. Each of these, the T, the R, the U, and the E in the T.R.U.E Wellness Framework really bring us back to ourselves, right? Bring us back to our body and help us get to balance the hormones at the ground level. So it makes me, I want to tell you a story about Lisa, one of our clients. She came in to me when she was 48. She was perimenopausal, had all the perimenopausal symptoms from weight gain to brain fog, insomnia, irritability, you name it. And when she had come in, she had already done 2 juice cleanses. She was intermittent fasting. She was getting up at 5 a.m. and doing a rigorous boot camp training. And she was frustrated. But you guys, her cortisol was completely elevated at night, which means she wasn't sleeping. Her progesterone was low. Her liver was sluggish. And instead of pushing her harder, which is what the tendency seems to be, we made some changes, right? We added breakfast. We got her off that intermittent fasting meal. It's not the time in her life for her to do that, right? We added protein and healthy fats to her breakfast. We shifted her workouts from these high power, rigorous trainings to strength training and walking, with purpose. We introduced nervous system downshifts in the evening, breath work, stretching, mindfulness, so that her body could calm down so that it could actually go back to sleep. We had to replace her minerals, right? That was important. And I would say it was within 4 to 6 weeks, she was sleeping. Her PMS symptoms, they improved by 70%. So in my practice, we track all of your symptoms. We rate them every time I meet with one of our clients. She lost 11 pounds in that time period without doing crazy restricting of calories, and her energy finally got to be stable throughout the day. You guys, this works when you work with your body, because when you do, you create safety in your body. You turn off the emergency signals that keep your hormones in chaos, because you stabilize your blood sugar. When you stabilize your blood sugar, you create steadiness in your insulin and you reduce the cortisol. Okay. When you bring in that nervous system safety, you balance your progesterone, your estrogen, your thyroid hormones. When you support detox, right, you lower the toxin level. That actually, the higher your toxin level, the more interference it actually has with hormone receptors. So your body works harder. And then on top of that, restoring your nutrient stores, well, that means your body can have better hormone production. So I'll tell you, there was a study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, and it showed that lifestyle interventions, they prioritize stress reduction, okay, and optimize your nutrients. They can actually improve your hormone profiles as much or more than the traditional pharmaceutical interventions and hormone replacement therapies that many midlife women are often recommended. So imagine that. So just imagine that by changing your nutrient profile, dealing with these lifestyle changes, you can have the same result as if you were taking a pharmaceutical. Whew, that's a big deal, you guys, because them pharmaceuticals come with side effects. Those are things we certainly want to avoid. So here's what I want you to take away. You don't have to fight with your body to heal it. In fact, fighting is what's keeping you stuck. In this body-led approach and the True Wellness framework that we just went through, it gives you a way to listen first, to respond with strategy, to build alignment instead of resistance. And this changes everything. So you guys, I want you to tell me. So in the comments section, I want you to give me your biggest aha from today's episode. I want to hear how you're starting to tune into your body. I want to hear how this is starting to make a difference for you. And next week will be our last segment of this Hormone Reset series. And we're wrapping up with your midlife power plan, where you're going to reclaim your energy, your confidence, and control. This is where we all bring it together, you guys. So I look forward to seeing you next week. This is Dr. D reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace the journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness Checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.